We start here. The poisoning of our minds with high-tech machines, which really are New World Order mind-influencing devices with tremendous power to change the way a single person and now a whole crowd of people react and behave. Those high-tech machines are, for the most part, smartphones. The magical supercomputers far too many people are staring at right now with drool in the corner of their mouths. You can see them everywhere you look these days. I mean, we have created a world where computers, more powerful than anything anyone could have imagined just a few years ago, have been put into the palms of our hands. We should be enlightened. We should be joyous. But it seems on most days, most of us are just the opposite. Instead of soaking up knowledge, people are hiding in their echo chambers. And they're afraid of what? Well, apparently just about everything. Despite the fact that we can communicate faster, easier, and from any distance at all around the world, basically 24 hours a day, you would think people would be embracing the idea of talking and sharing ideas. But instead, they retreat into places that are intellectually sealed off from any interference. Instead of being smarter and more enlightened, most people with smartphones have become less educated and less intelligent with each passing day. Instead of pursuing knowledge, more and more people are bogged down with cognitive dissonance, groupthink, and the inability to do much critical thinking, if they can do any at all these days. Now, look, I have my core beliefs. I'm willing to discuss those with you or anyone at any time. And it doesn't even have to be polite and cordial, as long as it stops short of being smacked in the face. I mean, I do have my limitations of discourse, of course. But the poison is spreading through the world and into far too many people's brains, causing a corrosion on their minds that, well, it seems to seep down into their hearts too. And I'm not the only one who sees this happening, but not many people will actually take the time to point it out and explain why this is happening. You see, the poison's being pushed out through smartphones, smart TVs, smart computers, and not being challenged by smart asses like me nearly often enough. But one wise guy did step up and put his money where his mouth is, who looks at social media, the news media, Hollywood, and all the rest with the same disdain I have for the homogenized monolith that is here today. That man, of course, is Elon Musk, and he's finally explaining exactly why he bought Twitter for $44 billion, and it has to do with San Francisco and the collapse of Western civilization. Listen to this.
If you've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the FK Twitter headquarters, it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, it's rough. Have you been in that area?
Not lately. No. Yeah. I've heard.
It's crazy.
I've heard it's crazy. I've heard you really can't believe it until you actually go there.
You can't believe it until you go there. So now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth. So, a philosophy that would be ordinarily quite niche and geographically constrained, so that the fallout area would be limited, was effectively given an information weapon, information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
The real pandemic, the poison, the mind virus. And Musk says when he bought Twitter, it was actually an arm of the government. And it is that simple. He called it Pravda. Here's more.
Twitter was simply an arm of the government, was not well understood by the public. And it was whatever the official government, I mean, it was like Pravda, basically. It's a state publication is the way to think of old Twitter. It's a state publication.
A state publication. Not comforting, is it? The poison crept into academia years ago, too. The America-hating hippies of the 1960s somehow found out that teaching took a lot less talent and a lot less work. So they taught about a whole host of things they knew very little about and convinced even younger kids and ever younger kids that they knew better than the old white guys that built America, who, by the way, to correct one very big, serious myth from the left, the guys that started this country, and the women too, not old at all when the nation was formed. Many were in their 20s, some in their teens. Think about that.